JBNN keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with someone today. Now on to the news. Man fatally shot in alleged confrontation with police in Linstead. A man who allegedly confronted the police in Linstead, St. Catherine, was fatally shot on Saturday. According to the police, a loaded gun and 44 additional rounds of ammunition were found. Reports are that around 6 a.m., a police team was in Banbury district when it was allegedly challenged by a man armed with a submachine gun. The police took evasive action and opened fire, hitting the man. The police retrieved the weapon, which was loaded with 2 rounds of ammunition. A further search resulted in the discovery of the additional ammunition. The injured man was assisted to the Linstead Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is probing the incident. Decomposing body of man with gunshot wounds found at his home in St. Anne. The police in St. Anne are probing the murder of a man whose decomposing body was found inside his house with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. He has been identified as 54-year-old handyman Robert Anthony Llewellyn of Wharf Road in St. Anne's Bay. According to reports, around 4:35 p.m. on Saturday, the police were called to the area. A team responded and went to the man's house, where his decomposing body was found face down on a bed. The body had what appeared to be gunshot wounds to its back. It was removed from the scene. No motive has been established in the case. St. Catherine man accused of beating truck driver to death. A 39-year-old man has been charged with murder after he allegedly used a boat to batter a truck driver to death. Charges are under Johnson of Mountain View Estate, Spanish Town in St. Catherine. Johnson is charged with the death of 46-year-old Dwayne Dennis, a truck driver of Sigourney Drive, Kingston 2. Reports from the Denham Town Police are that at about 5 p.m. on April 30, both men had an argument along Alton Villa Road in Kingston, which developed into a fight. Johnson allegedly used a piece of board to hit Dennis in the head and all over his body. Dennis collapsed, and Johnson reportedly attempted to flee, but was chased and caught by citizens. The police were summoned, and Dennis was assisted to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Johnson was taken into police custody and formally charged on Saturday. Man charged after ditching motorbike in attempt to escape with gun. A 27-year-old farmer is now facing gun charges for a weapon he allegedly discarded after he ditched his motorcycle and attempted to load lawmen at a roadblock along the Friendship Main Road in Westmoreland last Saturday. Kenneth Johnson of Strawberry District, Friendship, has been charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition. Reports from Withorn Police were that at about 10:30 p.m., while conducting a roadblock along the Friendship Main Road, a motorcyclist was signaled to stop. The driver initially complied, but then reportedly tried to elude the police by jumping from the motorcycle and running into a neighboring community. The police went in pursuit of the man and he was apprehended. He then reportedly took an object from his waistband and threw it to the ground. The object was retrieved and found to be a black Taurus 9mm pistol with a magazine affixed containing 5 9mm cartridges. He was arrested and subsequently charged on Thursday after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. Engineer nabbed in alleged $4 million land fraud. A 42-year-old engineer has been arrested and charged after allegedly collecting over $4 million for land that was not handed over to the buyer. Charged with fraudulent conversion is Jomo Campbell of Tobias Road, Kingston 4. Reports from the Hunts Bay Police are that between Tuesday, December 12, 2023 and Monday, January 8, 2024, a woman paid Campbell over $4 million to purchase land. She later discovered that the land was no longer for sale and the money was reportedly not reimbursed to her. A report was made to the police on Wednesday, April 30, 2025. Campbell turned himself into the police on Saturday, May 3, and was formally charged. A court date is being arranged for him. 13 gangs targeted on the second iteration of Operation Storm. The St. James Police have listed 13 gangs, which they will be prioritizing on the second iteration of the Operation Storm initiative. Dubbed Operation Storm 2, the police are looking at criminal collectives that have set up bases in several different communities in the parish. According to Operations Officer for the parish, Deputy Superintendent Linroy Edwards, the gangs that will be giving focused attention to are the G6 gang, they operate in Salt Spring, Rose Heights areas. 641 gang also in Salt Spring and Rose Heights, he said during a press conference, which signaled the launch of the operation on Friday. Bloods gang in Flower Hill, YSF in Birdhill and KDF Mount Salem, he continued. Downtown Sparta and Young Sparta Generation, YSG, Flankers, Rebel Gang from the Flankers community, and the Libyan Gang Flankers. Yak, Norwood, HDF Norwood, One Don Gang, Mount Carey, She Money, Maroon Town, and Bad 13 from Springmount. Deputy Superintendent Edward said as he listed the gangs. Edward said it is the intention of the security forces to dismantle and disarm these gangs, however long it takes. We want to inform the citizens of this parish that they will see heightened police and military presence in all communities, townships, and major thoroughfares across the parish, he explained. However, law-abiding citizens need not to be worried, as the focus will be on the gangs as we intend to remove them permanently from the communities in which they are hiding or operating in, he sought to reassure. Edwards is therefore asking individuals with information to reach out to the police and share whatever information they may have in this regard. We're encouraging the citizens to help us to identify the persons who are affiliated with these gangs and where they are residing. We want to know where they party, socialize, and hang out, the vehicles that they drive, and most importantly, where the guns are hidden, he appealed. For those associated with the gangs and other criminal activities, he is urging them to turn themselves into the police. We're one of the gangs not to challenge or resist the police when we come, as we have a lawful responsibility first to defend and protect ourselves and the decent law-abiding citizens of this parish, the Deputy Superintendent declared. We're appealing to all gang members and their supporters from the respective gangs to do the right thing, surrender yourselves and guns in your possession to us, and to prevent us from coming for you, because we'll be using every lawful tool that we have at our disposal to arrest and prosecute you, to ensure that the decent law-abiding citizens can live, work, do business, raise their families, and also visit in peace this beautiful parish of St. James, he added. Several of St. James' most wanted individuals and also persons of interest were also highlighted during the event, which included Tevin Lawson, otherwise called Brockhand, who is wanted for murders and shootings.
Shape our identities in profound ways. Imagine living a life where changing your name is impossible. Thankfully, this scenario is purely imaginative because the Registrar General's Department RGD makes it possible through a deed poll.
A deed poll is a legal document that shows a name change. However, it does not change anything on your birth record. It is misunderstood sometimes that once you do a deed poll, you're going to get a new birth certificate. No. So we have customers who come in to say they want a deed poll birth certificate. We don't have a deed poll birth certificate.
You are ready for a fresh start with a new name. The process is straightforward, but there are some important requirements to keep in mind.
In order for you to submit a deed poll, you'd have to be over the age of 18 years. You would need to submit your birth certificate. You would need to submit your marriage certificate if you're married. If it's a case where you're married, then your husband, if the bride is the one who's doing the deed poll, the husband would need to give permission. And if it's a husband, then the wife would need to give permission in order to have the name change. You would need to submit any other deed poll if you had previously done. If you had any other name change to your birth certificate, the most recent document that has a name change on your birth is what you would need to submit.
And if you were adopted, you would need to submit an official copy of your adoption certificate. A letter of authorization is also needed if applying on someone's behalf. It should be witnessed by a justice of the peace or notary public and then recorded along with the deed poll at the Island Record Office at RGD. Once you have all the necessary documents, the process proceeds as follows. An interview is conducted. That is then followed by application and payment. During this step, persons are required to complete their application forms and pay according to the selected service type. Express service, 3 to 4 days pickup, $7,500. 7 to 10 days service, 7 to 10 days pickup, $6,000. Ordinary service, 30 days pickup, $5,000. The next step is the draft completion and manager review. The draft is completed and vetted by the avid manager to ensure it meets the required service time. This is followed by notarization and stamping, where the customer signs the draft in the presence of a justice of the peace. The draft is stamped at the stamp office located at 111 Harbor Street in downtown Kingston. The next step is to return the draft to the Registrar's General Department for recording at the Island Record Office. There are several costs associated with the recording process. For birth certificates only, express service, which allows for pickup in 3 to 4 days, is $4,500. For 7 to 10 days pickup, it's $3,000. And the ordinary service of pickup within 30 days costs $2,000. For recording birth and marriage certificates, the express cost is $5,000, $3,500 for 7 to 10 days pickup, and $2,500 for the ordinary service. Any additional documents accompanying the birth and marriage certificates for the recording process incur a cost of $500 each. So why do people decide to change their names? There are countless reasons.
Well, people do deed poll for different reasons, religious reasons. Some persons not liking the name. Some persons it might be a case where you cannot substantiate you being called Mary versus Mary Lee. There are no restrictions in terms of you changing your name. You can change your entire name. You can add a name. You can take out a name. You can interchange the names.
Thinking of adding a number or suffix to your new name? Think again.
We don't allow numbers. Right, so some persons want to be called the third, or some persons want to be called the fourth or the second. No, we don't do deed polls to include those. Not with the Birth and Deaths Act. We don't use acronyms, we don't use numerals, we don't use senior, we don't use junior.
After your deed poll has been completed, your new legal name isn't just a formality.
It is an attachment to your birth certificate. So they walk hand in hand. It becomes your legal name, and that is a name that you would use when you're doing business, any transactions, any passport, immigration, banking transaction, you name it.
From legalities to personal choice, the deed poll process ensures your identity reflects your true self. Whether it's a fresh start or embracing authenticity, the Registrar General's Department stands ready to facilitate your journey.
JBN will keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.